Welcome to the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast, brought to you by the Arkansas Cattlemen's Association. Here, we dive into the heart of Arkansas's cattle industry, where legislation, education, advocacy, and development come together to support the hardworking cattle producers of the natural state. Whether you're in the pasture or on the road, this is your connection to the people, policies, and programs shaping the future of our industry. All right. Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast. We're excited to be back.
After a week off, yeah.
Yeah. Also, you should have seen us this morning trying to remember, or you miss 1 week, and it's like we kind of forget how to push any of the buttons.
This is true.
All the things. So, before we get started, I didn't even tell Nora Lee I was going to do this.
Oh, no.
So, before we get started, we are recording this on Valentine's Day. It is going to be posted, hopefully, on Valentine's Day. So we're going to start with some cheesy cow-themed Valentines. Whether you love it or you hate the day, I mean, you can't go wrong with a good cow pun, I feel like. So why did the cow break up with her boyfriend?
Well,
because he was acting a little moody. What do you call two cows in love?
what?
A dairy tale romance.
Lord of mercy. I can't with you.
And then finally, why don't cows ever get lonely on Valentine's Day?
Well,
Because they always have a herd to love.
okay, that's cute. That's cute.
Yes. I really did like the Valentine's posts we made this morning that had the cute little, like, hey, I heard it's Valentine's Day deal. Those are always popular. Always enjoy just a little cow pun.
And if you need a cute post to repost, go check out our social media because I posted some Valentine's Day posts this morning. So those are fun.
They're better than my jokes, promise.
Do you have any plans for Valentine's Day?
No, honestly, I forgot it was Valentine's Day.
Me neither.
Until I
It's fine.
saw our post on Facebook. I was like, I texted my husband. I was like, oh, Ryan, like, happy Valentine's Day. Like, that's your card. So I may just take a picture or save the picture on Facebook from the cheesy Valentines and share that with him. And that is his Valentine's Day post. So it's
I'm going to be celebrating Galentine's. So
there you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll have dinner. Maybe Ryan will cook. I don't really want to cook, so we'll see. We'll find out. We're flying by the seat of our pants, really.
oh yeah, 100%. Like always, it's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah, Ryan Horton does not plan. Love him to death. Does not plan ahead, and I didn't want to, and so here we are, day of forgetting that it's happening. So
It's fine. Whatever.
But yeah, so anyway, we can hop right into the episode. We kind of discussed or alluded to the fact that we missed a week. So in case you didn't notice, we did not record an episode last week. We had the best of intentions to get one done, and it just didn't quite happen. And so the reason we didn't record an episode was because we spent the past week in San Antonio at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association CattleCon, and so staff and leadership were there all week, pretty much, and had a jam-packed week. And so we tried to sit down and get some things recorded, and it just didn't happen. We had some bigger priorities we were focusing on. So we're going to talk about that for just a second, is why do we go to CattleCon? What do we do while we're there? And so I'll talk about the staff, or I'll talk about my position's job there, and then the leadership team's job there. But if you want to talk about kind of like what you were able to do while you were at CattleCon, that'd be great.
Yeah, so obviously I'm membership and communications, so and then there's a lot of vendors down there, lots of them. I don't even know how many, like
hundreds. Like an acre.
More than, literally an acre. Like you can walk for like a mile and still be in the convention center. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of vendors there, a lot of big vendors. So I walked around, and Michelle made me some business cards that said, hey, save the date for our convention, which is August 7th to the 9th. Put that on your calendar, please. But I went around handing them business cards. Hopefully get some new vendors at convention this year. I already had one reach out to me and be like, hey, they can't be there, but they'd love to do some goodie bags, hopefully. So working on that. So Just walking around, getting vendors, getting to know people, talking to our associate members. There's some that was down there. I got to talk to them, shake their hand, got to visit with them a little bit. Y'all will see them a little bit at area conferences coming up. So,
yep. Yeah, no, it's a huge, I mean, she's not exaggerating. I mean, for literally an acre of a trade show, and I don't think I even saw the whole thing. And so on the flip side of that, while lots of people go for the trade show, really enjoy it, the big portion of and the big priority of CattleCon is the policy meetings that happen. And so that's where I was, that's where your leadership was in those committee meetings. The NCBA breaks it up into quite a few different committees. They've got cattle health and well-being, they've got a live cattle marketing and ag and food policy. So different sectors of the industry have their own committee. Within those committee meetings, they have education. So we heard a lot about the New World screwworm. It will give you nightmares to sit there and listen to all of the facts and data and stats and the likelihood of it coming to the United States and what the USDA is doing to prevent that. But yeah, very stressful to sit there and listen to that. And then the rest of the committees had their own educational components of it. And then the big part of what we were there for was to vote on the resolutions and the policies. And so every affiliate, of which we are one, has the ability to bring forth a resolution and a policy, just like our members do. It's what drives NCBA and the National Cattlemen's is that policy. That's what makes them have the ability to go to the Capitol and do lobbying efforts for different items. And so we were in those committee meetings and looking at those policies and looking at those resolutions compared to our policy book. And so we were able to have very good discussions and work on a lot of different things. A big portion of them this year focused around the LRP programs, around taxes, and then around the New World screwworm prevention and mitigation. And so quite a lot of discussion and debate there, but a really good time to be able to just focus on what is beneficial for the cattle industry, but specifically in our aspect for the Arkansas cattle industry. I know there's a lot of discussion, a lot of debate around the benefit of national associations and various associations, but I think the biggest thing is the importance of being involved, the importance of being there and being able to share our perspective from the state of Arkansas and our members' perspective is very important. And so it was good. We had a really great crowd there. I mean, we had probably 20 or 30 people between the cattlemen's and the beef council who go as well. They obviously do not do any of the policy work. They focus on their own beef council and educational committees as well. And so it's a great time. Very entertaining, very educational. Really enjoy it. And so with that, and I don't even think I warned you of this, so sorry. What was your favorite part? You've gone to NCBA a couple of times as an intern, as a collegiate student, as an intern for NCBA, let me specify, not for us, and then as a collegiate student, and then now as a staff member. So what was your favorite part of NCBA this year?
Yeah, so my first one was in Houston 2 years ago, and then last year I went to New Orleans? No, well, not New Orleans. Orlando.
I was like, I was there.
Yes.
I don't remember.
I went to Orlando last year, and I was an intern, so I actually got to help on the trade show floor, which was really interesting. I learned a lot then. But coming back as a staff member and knowing how all the vendors and stuff are set up, it was really interesting. But I really got to talk to people. I really enjoyed getting to talk to members, talk to associate members, talk to state affiliates that are a part of Cattlemen's, bounce different ideas off each other, like, hey, what are y'all doing? How could I improve this? Different things like that. So that was probably my favorite part, and just hanging out with everybody. Oh, we got to go to the San Antonio rodeo, so that was really cool. I love watching rodeo, grew up rodeoing, just getting them. And I sat by Travis Payne, and he said he was a team roper, so we got to talk rodeo while we were sitting there. So that was pretty fun. So.
Yeah, I feel like that was probably one of my favorite parts is the camaraderie, the ability to meet and interact with our members outside of our structured board meetings. I mean, I've known Travis for quite a while, and I think that sitting there at the rodeo, that was the first time I'd learned that he rodeoed.
Yeah.
And so it just gives us a lot better ability to connect with our members on a personal level, for sure. Along with the camaraderie, that's one of my favorite things, is just being able to interact with not only our members, but people within this industry all across the nation, and to grow and see, hey, like maybe we're not the only ones facing that problem. Like, here's how we've addressed it. Here's what we can do. Association work can be difficult, can be stressful, can feel isolating. A lot of times we feel like, oh, like we're the only ones that have this thing. We're never the only ones that have that problem. And so CattleCon always reminds me that we're not alone, and there are people out there that are willing to share what they've done that can help, and we're willing to share what we've done that has worked for us. And so it's really just an exciting time. But then also, I guess maybe my favorite part is the fact that, knock on wood, so far, I've not gotten sick, although I'm starting to feel it. So if you hear me chugging my water over here, that is why my throat feels a little scratchy today. And so everyone else, I feel like we always come home sick from these things.
But we did take precautions. So we stayed in a room together, and she was like, make sure to take these elderberry gummies so we don't get sick. So every morning we're like, take your gummies.
Yeah, here's your immunity support pills. It was not my first rodeo. And so learned, but still, I think maybe it's catching up with me now.
Yep. We're still on our feet so far. So we got the weekend coming up. So,
yeah.
You know.
And so, so that's always a good time. Like I said, we had a really good delegation there. If you have questions about CattleCon, about NCBA and our affiliate status there, please let us know. We know there's a lot of questions, a lot of feelings about that. But again, like I said earlier, I think it's very important to be in the part of the conversation and to be part of the ones making those decisions of the cattle industry affiliates there.
Yep.
So
also, I don't know about you, but on the way down there, I listened to "Is Anybody Going to San Antonio?" by Charlie Pride. I was like, oh yeah. So,
yeah, I don't even remember the drive down there or back. Oh, good times. 9 hours.
Love Texas traffic. Love it.
Yeah, but we survived. We made it.
It
was a good time. So we will be back this next year. We'll be in Nashville.
Yep.
So I say next year. We'll be 26. Yeah, so it'll be next year. So it'll be good. We'll see what else has changed.
Yeah.
But let's hop into Hats on the Hill.
Hats on the Hill. Okay, let's start off with a rundown of what happened the last 2 weeks at the Capitol, because we've been gone.
Yeah, we have been gone, and so I'm just going to hold my emotional support water bottle here, because you can't see it.
But I will say, it's like, even though we were gone, like, we were sitting in the car, and she was listening to the legislative update on her phone on the way down there, so...
Yes, sorry to the two people that rode with me. You had to listen to the House debate. Quite a few interesting things on the way down there. And so that is the nice part, is it's 2025. Like, you don't have to be in the Capitol to be plugged in. Anybody in any part of the state, or as you travel, able to watch online and see. You just have to look on the ArcLedge website and see what's on the agenda and see kind of what's planned, and if you want to be able to video call. And you obviously will not be able to talk to them, but you can listen and see what is happening. That stands for committee meetings and for the full Senate or House floor votes as well. So great opportunity there. So yeah, so the last 2 weeks, we're continuing that hurry up and wait pattern. It feels like at the Capitol there have been a lot more pieces of legislation introduced, but not as much movement on them as we probably would have liked, as the sponsors probably would have liked. And so we're still kind of waiting for a lot of budgetary things to come down the pipeline, along with a couple of bigger priority pieces of legislation from the governor before we're able to kind of really shape up the rest of the sponsors or the rest of the legislators' agendas and priorities this year. So still ended up in a little bit hurry up and wait, but we did have some good movement, some positive movement on some of the things we were tracking.
Sweet. So we've discussed Senate Bill 61 and 68 in the past. Is there any update on those? Yeah,
so that's a positive movement we have. So it took a little bit longer than we thought. I was hoping the last podcast we recorded, we'd be able to give y'all an update on that. We recorded it on a Thursday, and they decided not to hear that on the House floor that day, so it ended up being heard on Monday while we were headed down to San Antonio. And so we do have a very positive update on those. Senate Bill 61 addresses telemedicine in the state of Arkansas, and I can stop calling it Senate Bill 61 and now call it Act 18. It passed a House vote on Monday of 2 weeks ago, I guess technically not this Monday, but the Monday before that, and went to the governor on the 6th and was signed by the governor, along with was Senate Bill 68, now Act 19, which addresses technologists, veterinary technologists, technicians, and technician specialists in direct supervision, and that also passed the House floor pretty handily. Neither one of them had a lot of issue or a lot of discussion or debate, and so really exciting to see positive impact and positive movement on some of this legislation that we hope will be a stopgap for addressing the large animal veterinary shortage that we have. So, not effective immediately, obviously, but we will have telehealth for veterinary medicine here in the state of Arkansas. There's going to be a few more steps of promulgating rules of what can and can't be done and that sort of thing. But really excited to see the positive response, really. I mean, that was not one of the things that was hotly debated at the legislature. So it was exciting to see this past couple of weeks.
Yeah, so earlier you discussed like there's a lot going on at the Capitol, a lot of bills being introduced. So what are you keeping your eye on?
Yeah, I have my handy dandy notes. If you're watching the video, you can't see how many. There's like 5 pieces of paper here. Because there is a lot. I'm not going to go through every single one of these super detailed, but I will go through some of the ones that we are keeping an eye on. One of the first ones is Senate Bill 84, which I lovingly refer to as the moratorium on moratoriums, by Senator Johnson and Representative Vaught. And so that one is it got referred to the Senate Ag Committee, and it is sitting in deferred status, which means there is a lot of discussion and debate on the side about this, of how this is going to work. Odds are very high that the bill will be changed as it is written. It will not be presented as it is written. And so in deferred status, the sponsor chooses to put the bill there and then also chooses when to take the bill off. And so a lot of times it'll be an amendment that comes out of the discussion that's happening. And so we're continuing to keep an eye on that. Just to remind y'all, it just says that state agencies don't have the right or the ability to declare a permitting moratorium. It would have to go through the Arkansas Legislative Council. And so we will see where that ends up and keep y'all updated on that. And then another one that we are looking at that I believe has now been moved to the deferred status as well is House Bill 1148 by Representative Vaught. And so it prohibits the capture of images or recordings of individuals on private property without consent using unmanned aircraft systems or drones. And so we're keeping an eye on that. A lot of times for us, it's a privacy issue, and so you can only imagine the issues that are come if somebody flies a drone over your farm and videos or takes pictures and then uses them without your permission. And so there's a lot of discussion and debate about that, of lots of moving parts of that bill. And so Representative Vaught is currently working on cleaning that up and having a lot of meetings with agriculture, with law enforcement, with realtors, with lots of different people that use this technology, and trying to figure out the best way to protect the citizens of Arkansas without overstepping. And so that one still right now is on pause as well. And then some of the other ones we are looking at is one of the ones, it doesn't necessarily completely pertain to Arkansas cattlemen's, but I always like to talk about it because I do know that a lot of our members will be affected by this, is House Bill 1278 by Representative Steimel and Senator Kroll. And it just specifies that surveyors must notify the farm owner before entering and complying with all visitor protocols established by the poultry farm during their visit. The bill only applies to commercial poultry properties over 5,000 square feet. And so essentially, if a surveyor is going to come on your property, they have to notify the farm owner before entering. And so that one we did not have a position on. Obviously, we are not addressing poultry things, but we do know a lot of our producers have chicken houses, and this would apply to them. So that's been passed through the House and the Senate now, and it was actually sent to the governor yesterday. And so just a little bit of protection and regulatory things right there. One we are looking at that again is probably on pause a little bit is House Bill 1436. And so it's from Representative Steele and Senator Scott. They are both from North Little Rock, and this one has kind of made waves, not only in the ag industry, but all across the board. And so this bill aims to set location restrictions for food processing plants that also operate as slaughterhouses, especially in what they call first-class cities. It prohibits the establishment of these facilities within 2 miles of important community landmarks such as churches, public schools, and densely populated residential areas. And so this is coming out of a conversation and a decision from a burger company here in North Little Rock that announced they were putting in their own slaughterhouse, their own processing plant here in North Little Rock to be able to provide their restaurants with local processed beef. And the residents of North Little Rock, where this plant was going to go, were pretty nervous about that, pretty upset about it. And so this bill came forth, and there's a lot of discussions with this. For cattlemen's, obviously, we support the more processing plants, the better. I mean, you look all across the state, the number, you can look on our website, we have the beef processing directory. There's quite a few all across the state, but there's also still usually a waiting list for a lot of those processors. And so we're always going to support more processing capacity here in the state, especially with obviously on the beef side. And so while we do that, we do understand the concern of putting it in the middle of a city. And so we are joining those conversations that are being had right now about this bill, because I do think there's a lot of unintended consequences that would come forth if this bill were to pass as written. And so lots of conversations happening right now about that one. And then I promise you, there's only like a few more of these. There's lots of pages, but I only start a couple of them. So one of them, another is House Bill 1450 by Representative Painter and Senator Hill. And so that one's changing the reporting requirements for the Arkansas Department of Agriculture. So if you don't know, right now the Department of Agriculture has quite a few reports they're supposed to fill out annually. And especially as, if you know, we went through the transition a couple of years ago under Governor Hutchinson. And so we've seen the department take on more and more responsibility, and so more and more reports as well. And so the goal with this one is to reduce bureaucratic obligations and to say, hey, instead of doing 10 separate, you can do one all-encompassing report. And so we'll see, that one's been referred to House Ag. And so we'll see that on the agenda coming up here pretty soon. And then finally, again, a name you've heard already quite a bit today, and you'll probably continue to hear a lot down the road, is from Representative Vaught, is House Bill 1464, and that's to create a sales and use tax exemption for parts and repair of ag equipment and machinery. And so we are all for, here at the Cattlemen's, all for tax exemptions for agriculture, so really excited to see that. I will say it's been referred to the House Revenue and Tax Committee, and it is House Revenue and Taxes, honestly one of the more difficult committees to serve on, and for bills to go through because of the financial impact of all of the bills that committee touches. And so each bill that goes through there has to have a fiscal impact study and has to show how it's going to affect the state of Arkansas. And so I do know, while we're still waiting for a lot of the budgetary announcements and budgetary cuts and tax cuts and all of the things that may be coming down the pipeline, not a lot of bills are moving through the House or through either side on the tax and rev, because they are just waiting to see where the budget shakes up, so that way they can see where do we have wiggle room, where do we have room to make some adjustments and some maybe hopefully some improvements. And so we're keeping an eye on that one as well. So that's a whole long list of things, but like I said, quite a bit of movement on the introduction of bills, not necessarily a lot of movement forward, not because they're not moving forward, but because there's a lot of conversations still being had about how to make sure that we can have the best legislation that has the best impact for, hopefully, for agricultural producers, and the minimal impact across the rest of the state. And so lots of good still conversations happening. Still a lot of legislation that hasn't been introduced yet that's still being talked about. So we will see even more coming down the pipeline here in a couple of weeks.
Lots of things going on at the state level.
Yeah.
So we're going to switch to a federal focus now. Is there any updates from the Senate?
Yes, so just yesterday, just 2 days ago. I don't even know. I feel like I don't know what today is. This week, the Senate did confirm Secretary Rollins as the new USDA secretary. And so really excited about that. If you don't know, have not heard, have not read about Secretary Brooke Rollins, she is from Texas, has degrees from Texas A&M and then University of Texas Austin and University of Texas Austin Law School, and has a background in agricultural policy, has a background in agriculture and in livestock. I do know her kids show livestock. And so really excited to have somebody at the helm of the USDA that understands agriculture and has that background that she does. And so really excited to see the next few years of what's on her what are her goals for the USDA and how she can work with agricultural producers, instead of a lot of what we felt in the past of government regulations coming down from people that maybe didn't quite understand agriculture. So really excited to see that. Very, very grateful for the Senate confirmation. I say very quick. I mean, we're only a couple weeks in, so it feels really quick to go ahead and get a secretary role secured and solidified, so that way we can move forward on a lot of things that have been up in the air at the USDA.
Yeah, so what bills are we currently tracking at the federal level?
Yes. So much shorter list, promise. But to me, again, like every time we go to a county meeting, I talk about legislation, and it feels like I talk about legislation forever. But to me, it was one of the biggest benefits of your Cattlemen's Association membership is the ability to have somebody at the Capitol, both in DC and in Little Rock, fighting for cattle producers. And so I believe it is one of the most important pieces of the puzzle of the cattlemen's. There's lots of different ones, but it's definitely one of the most important ones. So we're going to talk about the federal side. We only have still quite a few there, but a lot of that is still in the same kind of hurry up and wait pattern that we are at the state level, because the Senate is still so focused on confirming President Trump's appointees, and so not a lot is moving through the process there either. And so there are a couple of different tax bills that have been introduced. They have not gone to a full committee hearing yet, but they have been introduced, so I'll be curious to kind of keep an eye on those and see where we're going. One of those cuts the estate tax rate in half, and so if you don't know, the estate tax rate, the death tax, the inheritance tax, all of these things are ones that ACA and NCBA are both working to repeal entirely. And so that would be our end goal, our unicorn would be able to repeal that entirely, but this would be a step in the right direction. So it would cut it from 40 to 20%. And so it's just one big step towards eliminating it entirely. And then the Align Act has also been introduced. It is an acronym. Their ability to make up acronyms out of words is impressive. And so they have the Align Act, which allows businesses to fully expense new equipment in the year of purchase. And so it's, again, just addressing a little bit of a tax benefit there for producers that may be able to buy equipment and be able to expense it all in that year instead of having to carry it over. So while there's more, those are the two I really wanted to highlight. Keep an eye on it. Taxes, as you've heard in the past episodes, going to be a very big focus for the cattlemen's at the state and national level in the next coming years. So that's it.
That's our hats on the hill.
I know. What a time. That was a ride.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a busy time. And so it's an exciting time. I do encourage you, like, this podcast obviously is going to be a great way to stay up to date and informed, but also following us on social media. Anything, which reminds me we need to post about the vet bills,
Yes.
But any of the big ones that come out that we have been working on will be featured on social media as well. And so sometimes that may be a little bit more timely than the podcast because we can't wait until Friday all the time. So great times. Appreciate it. Love Hats on the Hill. Again, a reminder, the hat is not here because we have headsets. But
we did wear them all last week. So.
Yeah, you can look on our Facebook. The pictures are there. And so they've been at the Capitol. We're really excited. In a couple of weeks, we'll have our ACLC class, our Arkansas Cattlemen's Leadership course, and they'll be on the Hill with us. And so we'll have even more hats on the Hill. So really excited about it. We'll talk about it here later on and make sure that we're able to feature and kind of talk through that. But to me, it's a great time. I I love going to the Capitol, but I love being able to go to the Capitol with a group and say, hey, these are the people that this legislation could affect. And so being able to share that with our young cattlemen is just a great opportunity. And so that's one of our membership benefits and updates that we'll be doing. But let's jump into membership drive. It feels like we're in the middle of February.
Yeah, I know.
But we were remiss because we didn't do a podcast last week. We didn't recap January's membership drive. So let's do that. Remind us who sponsored our membership drive in January and who won those very excited, coveted prizes.
Yeah. So Big Branch Cooper Cattle did our monthly incentive sponsor. So we're extremely grateful for them. They sponsored a nitrogen semen tank, AI kit, and a registration to one of their classes in 2025. So without further ado, Maybelle Castera of White County won first place, and she picked the nitrogen semen tank. Second place was Mary Hamilton out of Bradley County, and she got the AI kit. And then the third place was Max Newt out of Perry County. So congratulations to them. We're extremely thankful for y'all for recruiting everybody. So
I feel like we needed a drum roll.
I know.
effect.
We need one. I just don't know how to do it.
No, that's really exciting. I love, again, I mean, our sponsors are amazing. They're outstanding. I wish we had the ability to say, hey, you recruited people, here's this thing, and this gives us the ability to do exactly that. And so they provide these prizes, these gifts, these tangible thank yous to our members and to our recruiters at no cost to the ACA. And so we're really grateful for the ability just to send a thank you, to send something exciting to them. And I did like that they got to choose. Like they got to pick their prizes, just like pick your own adventure. So it's great. So we talked about January. So now we're halfway through February. But let's talk about February. What are we looking at for the February membership?
So for our February monthly incentive, our sponsor is Farmers Association, and they are sponsoring 40 bags or a ton of Purina Wind and Rain magnesium mineral. Extremely thankful for them. First place gets 20 bags, second place and third place gets 10 bags. So we're waiting to see who wins those at the end of February. So.
And the nice part with that is, since Farmers has multiple stores and multiple locations, usually it's pretty easy for the member, the winner, to get those pretty close to them, pretty close to home. So very excited about that. And heck, I mean, we can always use mineral, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
So
all year long.
It's a good prize. Really excited about it. We've had that for the last couple of years, and that's always a really popular one. So one thing I didn't put on here, but we'll talk about, and you'll notice this episode is a little bit longer. We're making up for the fact that we missed a week, so it will not be a full hour, but it'll be a few minutes longer than our goal. And so we are in February now. We are 1 month into our membership drive. So if you don't know, while our membership year runs July through June, our membership drive runs January through June. So we spend 6 months recruiting very heavily for the Cattlemen's Association. And so we are a month and 14 days, but a month, we'll say a month. We're a month in to the membership drive. And so where do we stand right now?
Yeah, so I know a lot of people were worried about the dues increase, but we've had good success in January, I will say. So we put up a spreadsheet together, and we divided it out between the months we had last year of the number of members we had, and compared to last January and this January, we had 99.5% of our members from this year to last year. So really excited about that. Obviously, we know those numbers might fall a little bit, but we're extremely thankful for all of y'all, all that y'all do and everything. So
yes, yeah, no, that was very exciting. I know I was nervous, we were nervous, everybody was nervous about it, but I believe it's so far going well, of the fact that people understand and appreciate the purpose of the Cattlemen's, the benefit of the Cattlemen's, and so we're really grateful for everyone that has renewed their membership so far. And if you haven't, I will remind you, your renewal card came in the mail in the beginning of January. If you haven't renewed, you'll be receiving one probably probably right at the beginning of March. And so while we don't require you to be a member to come to area conferences or do anything else, we do require you to be a member to receive the magazine. And so you'll see in your March issue, March will be the last month that you receive the magazine if you don't renew. And so if you renew in March onward, you'll keep getting the magazine. But if you don't renew anytime in March, you'll be cut off until you do renew. And so that rollover warning will be coming up here next month. And so I encourage you, go out and recruit members. If you're not sure why people should join, I encourage you to listen to the first 30 minutes of this podcast when we talk about the legislative piece. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. We talk about it all the time, is legislation, education, advocacy, and development. And if you're having those conversations, you can share any of those 4 pieces, and I think it shows the value of the Cattlemen. So, but as Nora Lee said, we're really grateful for your membership, for your support, and for your listening to episode 4 of the podcast and the other 3 that we've had so far. I feel like as we go through this, we're learning as we go.
Yep.
And we're hoping that you're enjoying these as we cover the hot topics within the agriculture industry and within the legislative session. So with that, we'll wrap up. What reminders do we have for people? Anything we need to remind them of?
I will say, if you're interested in the monthly incentive, how you get that, like as a recruiter, is you put your name, or if you recruit somebody, have them put your name as the recruiter on the slip you put in the mail or online. There's just a place to put it, and we'll put you on that list and then run the report and see how many members you recruited, and that's how you get on that list, and that's how you win the monthly incentive prizes. But I will remind you, area conferences are coming up less than a month. In 2 weeks, there's our first one. Crazy that that's so fast.
What a nice reminder. No, we're very excited.
Yeah.
So great times, great opportunity, free steak dinner.
Free steak dinner.
And great education with the panel that we're putting together, working on who all is going to be on the panels as we go forward in each area. But really great time. How is the best way for people to RSVP?
So you can call the office at 501-244-2114. I'm not very good at numbers, but I did remember that.
There you go.
And then you can RSVP online, or we have, if you're subscribed to our newsletter, you can RSVP there. That'll take you to our website and RSVP there. It's free. We just need to know how many steaks to bring. That's it. So
yes, yeah, we want to make sure if you're intending to come that we have a steak for you. So please sign up. Our vendors are really excited. We've got quite a few vendors already for each of the areas, and so really shaping up to be a good area conference season. And so we'd love for you to join us. And they're a good time. They're pretty close to home for a lot of people. If you're not sure where your local one is, go on the website, look it out. We'll put it in the description so that way you can find it very easily. We'd love to have you. We'd love to see you and give you an update and be able to feed you a steak dinner and just sit down and say hi and thanks for your membership and for your support.
And if you would like to meet, some of your local producers, great opportunity to do that. If you're needing some hay or something local, great way to connect with people that way. So
yeah, networking is bar none there at those conferences for sure. All right, so we'll end as we always do. I say always, like we've done this more than 4 times,
right?
But let's let people know, remind them how they can subscribe, like, follow, do all the button things for the podcast.
I will always advocate for our social media. I try to post 3 times a week. One of them will be about the podcast. You can find the link there. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, all of the things. So you can find us anywhere. So if you just look up Arkansas Cattlemen's Association, click on our website, it's on our homepage, or Arkansas Cattle Business somewhere, and it should pop up.
Yep. Yeah, so we encourage you follow us on social media, like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast. That way you get notified when it comes out. And we're grateful. Honestly, we've had so much feedback from people from our board meetings, from going to NCBA, where people have said, oh yeah, like we've listened to the podcast. And
It's so refreshing.
It is. It's heartwarming to hear that people are listening. And so we can see the numbers, but being able to hear from people personally is just, it's wonderful. It makes us excited. We enjoy doing it. We enjoy having this conversation with each other and with you, but we really appreciate those listening. So thanks for tuning in for episode 4 of the Arkansas Cattle Business.
And if y'all ever want to know anything that we don't talk about, just let us know. Call the office, leave a comment. We'll see it. Yep. We'll hopefully talk about it for you. So
yeah. So we appreciate it. We hope y'all have a good weekend. And I will say, please stay warm. There's snow in the forecast for Arkansas this week. I'm so excited about it. We love snow. We don't love snow, guys. Mm-hmm. I know everyone in the cattle industry hates it. So just be prepared.
And I know people are calving right now, too.
I know.
So it's all fun. It's great. It's great.
So, but we encourage y'all, we always usually have a Facebook post about it, but stay warm next week. Obviously, we know your herd needs to be cared for, but make sure you're taking care of yourself. Take breaks, wear layers, make sure you drink water. That's one of the things that I never do when it's cold because I'm already cold. I don't want to drink water. But make sure that you're taking care of yourself throughout the cold along with your animals this next week. So, with that, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week for episode 5.
See y'all next week.
Thanks. Bye.
This is the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast, your trusted source for all things cattle in the natural state.